All right. I'm not going to be talking as much and saying we're going to read the definitions because you know some of them already. So a midpoint, I will bring it up, but I won't have somebody read it, okay? Because it should be in your note sheets. It's a point that's equidistant from the endpoints of a segment. That means that it's a point in the middle, right in the middle. Okay? That's the point where the bisector goes through. Okay? The point where the bisector goes through. And the bisector, you guys have, is the thing that divides it into two congruent parts. And it's the part where it meets at the midpoint.
Equal parts?
Sure,
Okay?
that's fine. Divides into two congruent parts. So the bisector is the object, and the midpoint is where it crosses. We're going to learn how to make congruent marks today. If I have a little segment here, and if I know that B is the midpoint, if B is the midpoint, then I can put a mark on there. If I put a single mark, and there's a single mark and a single mark, that means that those pieces are congruent. There are times when you might see a double mark. I'm going to actually extend it out. I might actually give myself another one. If I put a single mark on those and a double mark on those, the double mark means that the ones that have both double marks are congruent to each other. The single marks mean they're congruent to each other, but the double marks are not congruent to the single marks. We'll be learning how to do that with angles also. You guys are doing fantastic. All right, we're going to do a construction. That's going to take a little bit. And that construction is going to be how to actually find a midpoint. We're going to do two today, a bisector and an angle bisector, a segment, but we're going to do just the segment first, okay? I will let you put the steps in your construction book, and you have pictures. If you look at the notes right next to them, you have pictures for these. And you should have some, there we go. You can see what your eyes looks like there. We're going to do them together, okay?
Does it have to go all the way?
Thank you. We have a midpoint formula coming up. I'm going to let you write it down. It's in your formula book.
Okay.
Wait, okay. Write it down in here?
On your note sheets there, it should say midpoint formula.
Right here.
Write it here. I'm actually going to alter this teeny bit. I'm going to say equals midpoint. Okay. Notice that it has a lot to do with, it's very similar to that distance formula.
It's just any division instead of...
Yes, it's not under a big square root.
Why is there a comma there?
Good question. Good question. This is the x coordinate, and that's the y coordinate. Okay? And so we're going to find the midpoint, like on an x and y graph. Okay? So that first part is how you find the x piece, right here. And this one's how you find the y piece. Let's do one so you can see. All right, here we go. Midpoint. We have -2, 3 and 5, -2. I'm going to call this one, doesn't really matter, 1. This one we're going to call 1 and this one 2. Uh-oh, what happened? And then if I do that. Okay, here we go. I'm going to call this one 1 and this one 2. Okay? So notice that the formula says that I'm going to add the x's together. I'm going to add the x's together. So I'm going to have a -2 plus 5.
Wait, we start with...
Or it doesn't matter in this case. You're right. If we do 2 and... Yeah, that's true. 5 plus a -2 divided by 2. Now, you made a very good point because I said 1 was 1 and 1 was 2. But since you're adding, If you got them backwards, it wouldn't have made a difference. But since I actually picked a 2 at 1 and 2 and 9, I'm glad you corrected me, okay? I'm going to put a comma. Now it says I'm going to add the y's. I'm going to do the second one and the first one, subtract them. -2 plus 3 over 2. I'm running out of room. I have this magic thing that I can make it a little small. All right, what is 5 plus -2? 3 over 2. So 3 over 2 does not reduce. I'm leaving it.
Oh, I did that wrong.
And what is -2 plus 3?
1.
1, and over 2 is 1/2. Now this is an ordered pair. This is where the middle of that line is. Okay, now does it make sense why there's a comma? Okay. Because this is helping you, this formula here is helping you find the coordinate of the middle between these 2 points. Okay? All right. Let me just see real quick. Angle bisector. Here is the angle bisector. It's going to cut this thing in half equally. We're going to have the same of this angle on top and bottom. It's going to be an adjacent angle. Here it is. All right. So if I tell you that this thing cuts it into equal pieces, that means that this and this are congruent. That is what an angle bisector does. Bisect means cut in half. What does bisect mean?
Cut in half.
All right. So I'm going to show you how to make your congruent marks because you will be seeing these on homework. So I'm going to draw, just like I've been doing before, these little, like rainbow looking things on there.
And then don't you draw a line through them?
You could draw a line through them. There are times when, see if I came over here and drew another angle, and I did another bisector, I would need to have different marks on it. If I put one mark on these, it would look like that the one with one mark on the red is the same size as the red mark with the blue. But that is not true. So I'm going to have to give a distinction. So these have 2 marks on them, and the red ones have 1 on them. So the ones with 1 are congruent to each other, and the ones with 2 are congruent to each other. But the reds are not congruent to the blues. Sometimes, Naraya, if you had 3 and 4 of them, getting all these rainbows on here starts to get really confusing. So sometimes what I do is I make like lines in them too, so kind of make a different mark on them. And I don't know if that's an official thing. That's something I just can't stand, having like 5 rainbows on things. And so I just make some other mark to make me visually able to see them. Okay? All right. Questions?
I just hope I'm caught up. I don't know if I'm...
Say that one more time, Amy.
I just hope I'm caught up.
You are caught up. You are.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to do a construction. We are going to take the angle that's on your page right there, and we are going to bisect it. We're going to find the bisection of that, okay? So you'll need... All right, you have this example on the bottom of your page, and it says that these are equal. So we know that these angles are equal. So we can make the equation x plus 40 equals 3x minus 20 because we have that bisector there. We're going to solve now. I personally always love to add when I solve. I love to do that first. And so I want to add the 20 to the other side. That's just what I like to do. So I'll have x plus 60 equals 3x. You guys with me? So if I did that, I got to move that x over, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to subtract the x over. I am running out of room. So then I'm going to make that 60 equals 2x. Divide by 2. Divide by 2. X is how much?
30.
30.
30. Fantastic. Yes. Okay. I'm going to have the answer fly in here just because I like to make sure that I was right. We solved for x, and we know that they were equal. We set them equal, and I had x equals 30. All right. We're finished with this. This is what we did on this one. We named the angles. We did some construction marks. I want you to look at your assignment. Number 7 on 1.5. Number 7 on 1.5. We'll look that together. We did some constructions. We bisected an angle. We bisected a segment. We did midpoint formula. We did some problems with bisectors. Okay?